She was the first person at Michael Jackson's bedside when he died. She was forced, under threat of violence, to publicly say she believed her own brother was guilty of something she never actually believed. And decades later, she's still fielding questions from strangers on the internet about whether she's okay. Toya Jackson has spent almost 50 years in the public eye, and for most of it, the story other people told about her had almost nothing to do with who she actually was. In this video, we're going through the real timeline, the abuse, the recovery, the grief, and the health questions fans are asking right now. Let's get into it. Before any of the scandal, Toya Jackson wanted to be a lawyer. That was the plan. As much as any Jackson child growing up under Joe Jackson's roof was allowed to have a plan of her own. Joe had other ideas, and like her siblings, Toya was steered into the family business instead. What followed was a career that never quite got to be just about the music, where her brothers built a wholesome, all-American image with the Jackson 5. Toya's path got hijacked early by people looking to cash in on the family name, managers and handlers who pushed her into projects designed for headlines rather than her actual talent. A 1989 Playboy cover became one of the most talked-about moments of her career, not because of anything she said about it, but because of how loudly the tabloids used it to paint her as the Jackson family's black sheep. Financial struggles followed, most of them tied directly to the people running her career rather than any failure on her part. The label stuck for years. The full story behind it took much longer to come out. In 1989, Toya married her manager, Jack Gordon. What followed was not a marriage in any normal sense of the word. According to Toya's own later accounts, it became a years-long campaign of isolation and control. She has said Gordon cut her off almost entirely from the rest of the Jackson family, held on to her passport so she couldn't leave the country without him, and controlled her movements through physical violence and threats against her life. That context matters enormously for what happened next. In 1993, at the height of the first child sexual abuse allegations against Michael Jackson, Toya stood in front of international media at a press conference in Tel Aviv and said she believed the allegations against her brother were true. It was a massive story. It was also, according to Toya, not her own voice at all. She later said she was forced to read a script under threat of her life, that Gordon controlled what she said that day, and that she didn't believe a word of it. She escaped the marriage in 1996. Once she was free of Gordon's control, she fully recanted her 1993 statements and worked to rebuild her relationship with Michael, a reconciliation that held for the rest of his life. It's worth sitting with that for a second. An abuser used her own brother's public reputation as a weapon to control her, and it took her years to undo the damage of a single afternoon in Tel Aviv that was never really hers to begin with. Toya was the first family member to reach the hospital the day Michael Jackson died. In the days and months that followed, she became the most publicly outspoken of all her siblings, and she didn't stay quiet about what she believed had happened. She pursued Michael's medical records herself and told international press that she believed her brother had been killed, not by any single person pulling a trigger, but by what she described as a circle of people around him who were more interested in controlling his estate and his massive music catalog than protecting his life. It's important to be clear about where the facts and Toya's personal belief diverge here. The official cause of death was ruled a homicide, tied to the administration of the anesthetic propofol, and Michael's physician, Dr. Conrad Murray, was convicted of involuntary manslaughter in connection with his death. Toya's broader claims about a coordinated conspiracy involving Michael's estate go beyond what was proven in court. They represent her own belief in grief, not an established legal finding. Years later, in a widely watched episode of Hollywood Medium with Tyler Henry, Toya broke down in tears attempting to get answers about her brother's final conscious moments, specifically whether he felt abandoned by the people who were supposed to be looking after him. It wasn't a made-for-TV moment. Anyone who watched it could see that this brings us to the present. In September 2024, Toya's older brother Tito Jackson died suddenly of a heart attack at 70. Just weeks later, around the holidays, fans began noticing that Toya looked noticeably thinner in videos posted from a trip to Qatar, thin enough that comment sections filled up with people gently, and sometimes not so gently, asking if she was okay. The concern didn't fade. In November 2025, Toya posted a video from what appeared to be a Los Angeles medical center, telling followers she was undergoing what she called constant checkups, and that she hoped the results would come back good. She didn't offer further specifics, and the video went viral for exactly that reason. People had questions with no answers attached. By March 2026, she responded to the mounting concern directly, without going into detail about any diagnosis, posting a series of photos with the caption sending much love and light that's much needed today. A month later, at the Los Angeles premiere of the Michael biopic, she gave reporters a clearer update in her own words. "I'm feeling good. I'm feeling strong and feeling happy." It's worth saying plainly, Toya Jackson hasn't publicly confirmed any specific diagnosis, and speculating beyond what she's actually said wouldn't be fair to her. What we do know is that she's continued showing up for interviews, for her family, for the premiere of a film telling her brother's story, while asking fans for grace rather than more scrutiny. Look at the full shape of Toya Jackson's life, and a pattern emerges that has nothing to do with tabloid headlines. A woman who wanted to be a lawyer got pushed into a spotlight she didn't choose. A husband weaponized her love for her family to control her. She got out, rebuilt what he tried to destroy, and then lost the brother she'd fought so hard to reconcile with. Twice. In a sense, once when the world turned against him, and again when he died. She's still here, still posting, still showing up at premieres, still sending out love and light to strangers on the internet who are worried about her. The black sheep label never really fit. It just took the rest of the world a long time to notice.